the hardest scene for you to shoot?
My father's funeral, or telling the man that I love that I no longer wanted to adopt a child with him, or finding out that the one man I trust killed my father, or could be my father, then finding out that my husband
I gotta watch this show.
of 2 years was actually a high-profile spy sent to spy on me and collect data. Wow. That was all pretty tough.
It's hard to really talk about because the show hasn't aired yet this season, so it's all like giant spoilers. But the fourth season is the culmination of everything. It's the wrapping up of Sarah's story, and the stakes are like higher than anything else. And we just we were like all in, you know. And then of course shooting the finale, saying goodbye. You know, that was its own kind of special, sad experience.
For me, I think it was being in a coma. Because you never really want to be in a coma. You really don't. Not on TV. And there are a lot of reasons for that, and all of them proved to be valid. And I do think that ultimately we got some value out of having the character be in a coma, but that was tough going.
The first season, the scariest thing was actually singing. I had to sing in one episode, and that is far more terrifying than any of the other stuff I was asked to do, which may seem strange, but yeah, I'm very, very scared to sing. I don't know how you. I mean, now you're probably really, really used to it, but it's terrifying. Yeah. It's terrifying. It felt like, I don't know, like a skill set that I had not mastered even a little bit. It's my nightmare. I can't even sing karaoke without being like a bottle of tequila deep. So it was kind of a nightmare.
Well, for me, my character has Asperger's, so there's every scene that I play presents its own challenges because she's emotionally so cut off from so many things that are common to all of us. And then a story in our show, season 1, is I have a strange obsession with my sister's murderer, who is in a mental institution, and the only time I really can show emotion is with him. So it's pretty dark. My character goes to visit him in prison once a week, and sort of he's the only person she can touch and cry over, and so mentally that does a real number on me, you know. And it's hard to be in a regular scene and not be able to function, you know. Yeah. I don't want to say normally because it's not. Yes, no normal. You're not normal, but it's no. I don't have any scene that is just saying the lines, you know.
Did you do a lot of research on people with Asperger's?
Yeah, a lot. And honestly, I wasn't very good at it at first. You know, it's one of those things. I read everything. You can read about it, but how can I really know what it's like to live with Asperger's? And I didn't want to be some silly actress who does tics, you know, who does like a weird thing in every scene. So I struggled for a really long time. I wasn't sure if I could take the role. For me, what changed was Autism Speaks came on board, and they sort of introduced me to a young man who has Asperger's. He's very high functioning, but I was able to observe him, and that was sort of what got me. Not that I could ever really understand what it's like, but you know, I could see where he was not getting. It was like a door, and he couldn't cross over into the other room, you know, and it's interesting what triggers it, and it's interesting why he goes through the things he does, and he's very high functioning, and so he was able to explain it to me, and that's sort of what, you know, made it click for me.
I've found the entire series to be somewhat challenging, given that her way of dealing with the world is so very different than my way of dealing with the world. So I always have to remind myself in a weird, you know, that as an actor, you know, you're always sort of drawing on yourself, but you're also in a heightened place. And so my biggest challenge is always to remind myself that her point of view is not my point of view. So to make that choice. So, you know, but in this season, for sure, you know, she's always kind of, she's very duplicitous. And so, Actually, I guess the biggest challenge this season was what happened in the finale, which I guess I can say now because everybody's seen it. So I kill like this person that I love. I kill her in a blind rage, and I kill her in this horrifying way. And, you know, we knew the entire season, Charlie and Maggie and I knew that that was going to happen. So we sort of just were in this pleasant little denial about it all. And then, but on the day, you know, even though when you do those kinds of scenes, they're so well choreographed, you know, it's like doing a sex scene. It sort of becomes, you know, just body parts. And so, you know, we sort of did it by the numbers. But it was just a lot of, it was rage, you know. It's so interesting to play a character that touches so many rageful spots, so much rage. And so, you know, I just like to think in my regular life, I've just sort of, you know, processed a lot of that rage, but to be able to access it. So I don't know that that's challenging to access it. It's sort of liberating in a weird way.
Because you were terrifying in that finale. Did you find the next day were people like crossing the street when they saw you, or?
Oh, this was so funny. Like within 3 days, I did an autograph signing. And I thought for sure, like, people are going to hate this character now. This is going to be awful. All of a sudden, I kill this person with a fork. I stab her in the back of the head with a carving fork. There's people lined up with carving forks for me to sign. Wow. I thought, wow, they have just completely embraced. And then there was this whole thing, like when you're on a show, we're in our 7th season, so there was like Team Gemma and Team Tara and people fighting for her. I mean, the fans were like rabid. So all of a sudden they're having me sign their forks, and I thought, well.
Lizzy, I'm almost afraid to ask what fans ask you to sign.
Nicely played.
No, I'd rather not know.
Yeah, weirdly, I don't get a lot of people creeping on me and asking me gross stuff, ever. It's strange. I think maybe they're scared to do so because I'm a master now of sex.
You have a degree and everything.
Yeah.
I wonder, too, if it's
Masters.
because it's a period piece. You know, when it's a period piece, don't they sort of feel like they're in it but not really? Like they don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's sort of, I guess maybe it's the same deal as, you know, when you're on a television show and the theory that you're in people's living rooms, and so they feel very comfortable coming up to you and talking to you because you feel almost as if you're a part of their family. I haven't had that experience so much, and I think it could be the period thing,
Yeah.
which is kind of great because I'm very awkward in those exchanges anyway, so I think it works out for everybody.
What's been your strangest fan encounter?
I had a really sweet one. I was at the grocery store shopping, and Sarah Linden had a particularly bad week the episode before, and this kind of hippie grandma lady in big flowing robes, whatever, saw me and came and wrapped her arms around me and gave me a hug. It was so lovely. It wasn't creepy at all. Actually, it was like really sweet. It was really like genuine, and she just, anyway, it was great. And she said thanks, and I hope it's all going okay. And it was really cute.
I would say the craziest fan thing is the fact that I have real country music singers who want me to sing with them. That's crazy, guys. That's nuts. You know, that they actually really think that, you know, they sort of, there's an idea that I'm actually this character that I'm playing, you know, that I am sort of this famous country music star, which to me might be the most mind-blowing of any experience I've ever had. So it's pretty wild.
Are you going to do it?
Well, I mean, maybe.
Who? Give one.
I did this. I actually did sing a song for the NCAA Women's Finals, basketball finals. Basketball, yes. Guys, I'm brain dead. Let's be honest. I don't know what I'm talking about. No, they did them in Nashville, and they asked me to sing a cover of a Jason Aldean song that was going to then be the song that sort of represented the NCAA finals, women's finals. And I was like, I'm so badass. I'm going to do that. And I did it. It was crazy. It was really fun. That's an example.
You know, crazy or just weird. I guess I think it's weird when fans recognize you and they think that you can't hear them. You know, or they, you know, like I was in a Target once and there was this couple and they were shopping sort of across the aisle, and this guy was like, "Yo, Lisa, sewing your cross right here, Lisa," and it's like, "Hi, I'm here. Nice to meet you too." That's sort of like weird, you know, like they don't see you.
Yeah. Somehow I think that's the ultimate being of service, to sort of be on television, because like you said, they sort of vicariously are learning how to talk to their families, or learning how to do, I mean, it's just this odd phenomenon that we are now, that's what the media now provides for people. I don't know if, it always blows my mind. But I've had awfully strange not awfully strange, but I have a whole new fan base. Like, I'm on the cover of Biker magazines.
No way.
I'm like Biker Babe on the cover. And one of my stranger, but Married with Children had a very rabid fan base too, and just all kinds of, just very vocal fans. With this show, Charlie and I were at an autograph signing. We were at I don't know if it was a biker rally, I don't know where we were. But some guy comes up in line and he had me sign my name here, and then he had Charlie sign his name there. And then we took a break, and a half hour later, the guy came back and he had him tattooed.
No.
At the rally, so that, we were, and it wasn't like a little, it was like all the way down.
Oh, no.
And we were so,
He's
because
gonna
it's so,
regret
That
that.
spells regret. I know.
I know, and I always make this joke. It's like if I was on a lawyer show, I'd be wearing, like, I wouldn't be I'd be in a lawyer suit or something. I'd be that person. But it really, and I so appreciate it. I think that the fan base, that's what supports us having jobs.
sure.
I mean, we are completely beholden to that.
Are there any secrets to decompressing after a really tough scene?
I'm terrible this year at it. We're like halfway through the second season, and I feel now like my entire life is dedicated to this character, and
Mastering sex.
mastering sex, already mastered, so now I'm trying to spread my wings to other things. But this,
How sick are you of those
whatever.
jokes, by the
Bedroom,
way, by
whatever.
now?
no, I love them. Keep them coming. I'm really bad at leaving it at work now, but there's something really exhilarating about that. It's, I only have to work for 5 months a season, and so I can fully immerse myself in it, and it's exhilarating as an actress. But I think about if I did have kids or a family or anything else going on in my life, and how difficult it would be to juggle it. But now it's like it's just me and Virginia. She keeps me warm at night.
There was a time mid-season when I just looked around at my life and I wondered, can I do this? Do I have it in me to do this? And I may have done a million stunts and killed a ton of bad guys, but the most heroic moment in my life this year was showing up to work every day, doing my best to be of service to the people coming in and out of the revolving door, the actors that I work opposite, getting to know them, working with their personality, and it's just like always for me, I had to learn how to be a woman, a strong woman that is, for the first time, powerful. And like the schedule and like unwinding from that and the learning curve and all of that has been profoundly overwhelming, but so rewarding as well.
Yeah, I find it really great that I can't bring it home because I have 3 children. Yeah. And there's something about, thank God, that sort of balances, because I can bring my sadness, but then it becomes, or my whatever, and then it just becomes so, okay, that's my job. I really get it. I get it so clearly that, this is my life and that's my job, which ultimately for me becomes the healthier choice. Ultimately that's what works best.
And I don't know if you guys have found this to be true, but because so much of the material has been so heavy, there's actually a lot of laughter on the set, right? Everyone rallies, and in between, you're taking care of each other and making jokes, and to keep hope in the room, and it's nice, that community that is formed.
Well, I think that's the beautiful joy of it, and also as a fellow 22 episode season person, it's so incredibly intense and exhausting. But I do feel fortunate because I have a 3-year-old son, so I really have to, and I want to, and I don't think at the end of the day that I'm going to be able to let it go or have when he comes to set. Sometimes it can be distracting because I have him come to set as much as I can, but at the same time, I welcome the distraction because it gives me a little bit of sense of balance and perspective. that I think is necessary, especially shooting 10 months out of the year.
Diane, especially with your character, I like to imagine that as soon as they yell cut, you're like, partying and cracking jokes.
Yeah, although I'm German, so there's a certain directness that comes with my nationality that serves Sonia really well, and my partner and my friends are less thrilled with the directness that adds on through Sonia. I have to sort of catch myself and be like, please.
What happens to Raina next season? Do you know yet?
I literally have no idea. That's all I can say.
What would you like?
Say it again? I have no idea. And we had kind of a cool cliffhanger at the end of our season this year, so I'm curious to know too, but I don't know yet.
Another coma.
It's not another coma, so I was psyched. I did not have a
Check
car
that
accident or a coma, so it was an improvement. You have such amazing personal style. Did you work with the costume designer on the bridge to bring Sonia to life?
Not really. I mean, I have this really cool jacket in the show, which is my dead sister's jacket. So we designed it with like poems. She died when she was 18, so there's all these like weird love poems on it, and a horse is painted on the back. And then I keep a box of her fingernails and her hair in my office. Yep. So that. So that's great style, I know. When does the final season of The Killing pick up? Is it right after the third season ends?
The first episode of the fourth season picks up 3 hours after the finale of the third season. For Lizzy, how much research did you do on the time period before filming?
Well, our show is based on a book called Masters of Sex. It was based on like 100 hours of interviews with Virginia Johnson. Bill Masters was already dead by the time the book was written, so it's really her point of view. So that has become kind of like our Bible on set, and everything we get for the time period kind of comes from there, because yes, it was the 50s, but she grew up in a small town in the Midwest, and then her big city was St. Louis, and so it's already like 9 steps away from anything I can personally understand. But yeah, I mean, there was one actor last year who carried around that book, The 50s. It's like big, huge, massive, yeah. But he just carried it around. Like, I don't think he got past the first 30 pages. And so I was considering maybe reading that, but I knew that I would never have time to actually read it, and I'd just be the actor walking around with the big book to look impressive. Katey, what is it like to work with your husband on Sons of Anarchy?
It's hot to work with my husband on Sons of Anarchy.
All right.
I think it's really, I think he's such a great writer. I really have a lot of respect for him. So there's that point of view. There's that sort of like, oh, I get to see my husband not just in his pajamas. I get to see how even though that's pretty good too, but I just get to see what I guess he would call his best self. So that's really, really great. I mean, a lot of people think I know stuff before it happens. He tells me very little, hardly anything, and I have no opinions, basically, about the characters. Or like, I would the first couple of seasons, I would sort of go like, really? She's gonna do what? And then, but his perspective, which I completely understand this, is that he's the storyteller, and we as the actors are there to facilitate the story. It's really not about, my character wouldn't do that. The truth is, he made up the character. He knows better than I do. So, I really fall in line with that. That's sort of like, I get that, and he's helpful when needed. Like if I don't understand something, I do have sort of a line there where we can talk about it, late at night. So those are all good. But I think overall it's been really great. I mean, it was a little stressful sometimes at first because it was all we would talk about. And that became like, really? Or that's all we're going to talk? So, but now, 7 years in, it's a really nice balance. And yeah, it's pretty sexy, actually. It's pretty hot. What is your favorite television show of all time?
Friday Night Lights. Okay, I feel like a big dork right now. And like, by the way, your character is my favorite character of all time.
Oh my gosh, thank you. That's so nice.
You're welcome.